Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Renown, and more specifically we're going to talk about the raid Renown of patch 11.2 Ghosts of Koresh. The raid is called Manaforge Omega. The reputation is called the Manaforge Vandals. This is a 15 level Renown track with various rewards. Obviously in patch 11.1 we got the Undermine Renown, and now in 11.2 we have it once again with the final raid of the War Within. But before we jump into that, guys, I do want to let you know that I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, 11.2 PTR, the collection event right now, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM. Right, so yes, Raid Renown is returning in patch 11.2. Clearly it was a success on Blizzard's side, so they are continuing it with the new raid Manaforge Omega. I've done the raid. It's really great. I really enjoyed it. Obviously didn't do Dimensius, as that's not going to be publicly tested, but we did do all the bosses on normal, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Now, I don't know if it's just the honeymoon period and it just felt really different to the liberation of Undermine. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. Anyway, that's not why you're here. So as of right now, we're not sure on the rates of Renown. I would imagine it's very similar to what we have right now, and there are 15 levels in total. So let's take a look at some of the rewards you can expect from this new Renown. So level 1 is Welcome to the Resistance, of course, just gaining Renown with the Manaforge Vandals. And the other one is Meet the Vandals, which is vendors and auctioneers are now available at Shadow Point. Now, what's interesting here is Shadow Point is actually outside of the raid. It's actually just in front of the entrance of the raid. So potentially, yes, we're actually going to get some NPCs out there instead of inside the raid, which is actually pretty awesome, but we'll have to see, obviously, once we start unlocking the Renown. At Renown 2, we have Headhunting Lumathar. So it says, defeating Lumathar will grant you a spool of Lumbi Silk, which can be used to fashion cloak appearances at Shadow Point. And the other one is Weave of Absence, which Lumathar will drop extra Lumbi Silk when defeated. So Lumbi Silk is actually a new currency used to purchase cloak appearances. Now, these cloak appearances are different ensembles for each of the classes, because in patch 11.2 we have the Reshi Wraps, which is our only cloak we're going to be using. So these are actually the cloaks which match the tier set. Purchasing one of these ensembles will give you all of the appearances for the Raid Finder, normal, heroic, and mythic appearances, so that's really great. And yeah, the second boss Lumathar will be dropping those once you reach Renown 2. At Renown 3 we have Manaforge Hacking. It says gain access to the Arcane Flow Control for the Cultivation Chambers and the Unbound Vault, allowing you to weaken non-boss enemies nearby. Now, one of my big feedbacks of the raid is that there is a ton of trash in here, so it looks like this Renown reward is going to be something we have to make this trash a little bit more bearable. The other reward is Speed Siphoner. It says siphon the essence of the forge, increasing your speed by 15% while out of combat inside Manaforge Omega. At Renown 4 we have Behind Enemy Lines 1. It says while inside Manaforge Omega, your warband's damage and healing is increased by 3%. And the other one is Beam Me Up. It says speak to Zoteru at Shadow Point to be issued a Shadow Guard Translocator, which projects your soul to Shadow Point when used inside Manaforge Omega. The magic lingers only briefly before forcibly ripping your soul back through the portal. So from the description of this reward and the item, it looks like this is going to be an item you use to teleport outside the raid for a brief time, maybe to go to the auctioneer, the vendor, or summon someone, and then you get forced back in. Now, we don't know the amount of time you're going to get to run around outside the raid, but this does seem really good as just like a really quick way to get out of the raid, to go to the vendors, to go to the auctioneer, or anything like that, which is, yeah, really cool. So yeah, Beam Me Up is the reward for Renown 4. At Renown 5, we have Shadow in the Warp. It says gain access to the Manaforge Translocator found before Plexus Sentinel, allowing you to assault the Nexus King Saladar directly if you've defeated him at least once in your present difficulty. So this is the raid skip, and this will take you to the penultimate boss, Nexus King Saladar, which is great. At Renown 6, we have Attune to the Ether. So speak to Zoropo at Shadow Point to further enhance your resistance with the Reshi, increasing the effectiveness of your enchantments and mana oils while inside Manaforge Omega. And the other one is Shroud and Proud. It says the secondary stats of your Reshi Wraps will be increased while inside Manaforge Omega. So yeah, once again, a little bit of a boost to your enchantments, mana oils, and your stats on your cloak. At Renown 7, we have Behind Enemy Lines 2. It says, while inside Manaforge Omega, your warband's damage and healing is increased by 6%. And we also have Manaforge Hacking 2 as well. It says, extends the Arcane Flow Control access to the Technomancer's Terrace, allowing you to weaken non-boss enemies inside. So once again, making that trash hopefully a little bit more bearable. At Renown 8, we have a bunch of rewards. We have Glide or Die. It says, you may now obtain the Vandal's Gear Glider from Bachozu at Shadow Point. So this is a mount. This is the Vandal Vandal's Gear Glider mount. This is a recolor of the mounts we saw in like Tazavesh and things like that. There's a few of these in patch 11.2, and this is the one you're going to get from the Renown. You also have Tools of the Trade Secret. It says Koropo at Shadow Point will bestow you new enchanting and inscription recipes, which is nice. We also have Manaforge Instruments. It says Forge Weaver Araz now has a chance to drop Manaforge Instruments, a reagent necessary to craft Manaforge related recipes. And we also have a pet reward. It says a Curious Companion. Zoya, the furtive Perkin at Shadow Point, has warmed up to you and wishes to follow you. So this is a pet called Zoya, which is kind of one of those Tazavesh cats, which is kind of nice. So yeah, Renown 8, a ton of rewards, which is cool. So some really good profession stuff, and a mount and a pet. At Renown 9, we have Headhunting the Soul Hunters. So it says defeating the Soul Hunters will grant you 3 Soul Gorge Augment Runes, Void Touch Augment Runes, which do not expire on death. And the other one is Climb the Ladder. It says the Soul Hunters have a chance to drop 3 additional Soul Gorge Augment Runes when defeated. So yeah, this is actually an optional boss. This is the trio of Demon Hunters. And it looks like at Renown 9, they're going to start dropping some Augment Runes for you to have, which is nice. At Renown 10, we have Behind Enemy Lines 3, which is another upgrade to your damage and healing to 9%. And we also have a speed boost of 30% while out of combat while inside the raid. At Renown 11, we have, once again, an extension of the kind of trash removal or trash weakening of sorts. It says Manaforge Hacking 3. It says it extends the Arcane Flow control access to the Shadow Docks, allowing you to weaken non-boss enemies inside. Additionally, all consoles can now be activated in tandem, which is nice. We also have Headhunting Horrors of the Forge. It says named elite enemies inside Manaforge Omega now have a chance to drop Warbound items when defeated each week, which is nice. That's a good little boost of Warbound items at Renown 11. At Renown 12, we have Headhunting Nexus King Saladar. So it says defeating Nexus King Saladar will give you an Ethereal Essence Silver, which can be traded for cosmetic appearances of your choice at Shadow Point. And Heavy as the Crown, which I kind of hope is a Linkin Park reference, but probably not, says Nexus King Saladar has a chance to drop additional Ethereal Essence Silvers when defeated. So this is another new currency which is used to purchase cosmetic weapon appearances from the raid for Raid Finder Normal, Heroic, and Mythic appearances, and they cost 1 of these Ethereal Essence Silver each, so it looks like the boss will guaranteed at least 1, and then we'll have a chance at dropping extra ones. At Renown 13, we have Behind Enemy Lines 4. It says while inside Manaforge Omega, your Warband's damage and healing is increased by 12%. And we also have Looker Kazgreth Jr. It says Looker, Descendant, and Slain Watcher Kazgreth seeks vengeance, or to join you. Zotaru at Shadow Point will put you in touch. So this is actually just a battle pet, and this is a baby Watcher pet, which actually looks super cute. So that's at Renown 13. At Renown 14, we have Alpha and Omega. It says repelling Dimensius from manifesting as full might has earned you the title Star Savior. That's a cool title. And we have a mount reward of the Bone Freezer. So it says speak to Zotaru at Shadow Point to obtain the Bone Freezer as a mount. So the Bone Freezer is just a recolor of kind of the bug mounts that we're going to see around Koresh. There's a couple of these in the game files, and this is the Bone Freezer version, which is going to be from the Renown at Renown 14. And finally, at Renown 15, we have Behind Enemy Lines 5. This increases your damage and healing by 15%. And we have To the Infinite, which gains you ability to teleport to Manaforge Omega whenever you wish. So yeah, a raid teleport at the final level of Renown. And that's it. That is the Manaforge Vandals Renown coming in patch 11.2. As said, we haven't had any full information on how you gain this Renown, but I would imagine it's going to be very similar to how it is right now in 11.1 with the Liberation of Undermine. So yeah, guys, let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts on this Renown. Do you feel like Blizzard have learned any lessons from the previous Renown with these rewards? I really like some of the cosmetics here. I love the fact that we can get all of those cloak transmogs really, really easily as well, just from the second boss. So big fan of that. And don't forget to leave a like on this video if you liked it, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon, and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And also I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft 11.2 PTR, any sort of WoW, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.